This is James Bond here with you, and I'm going to be talking about a feature that is in the mods of Fallout 4 that should have been in the video game. And in any new Fallout they make, Fallout 5, it's the ability to make a companion and make your wife, or a woman might want a husband in the game, so the ability to make a wife or a husband. So anyway, you got the ability to change the hair, the hairstyle. You can go through all these hairstyles and change your hair. You know, you can go with a cool looking ponytail, with wavy hair. You can go with, and this should be free because mods, if you're going to buy a game, it should be a good game. And this makes the game a good game and makes it enjoyable. The thing that changes games and makes people buy more games though is new stories, new cinematic scenes, and that way you don't got to spend your time limiting games, because you think if you put too much in a game, people won't want to buy another game, in which they will if you put another story in. There's a lot of people that have more than enough money to buy games, and they love games out there, so you know, it's a good thing to have lots of things in video games. You got the pin-up hair with the bandana and the ponytail going there, 50s style. As you keep going, you will see there's another one. It's just a regular bun. Keep going through there, and then you even got the ability not only to style the hair. That kind of looks like Kim Basinger's hairdo in Batman. A little bit. Kind of looks like the way Kim Basinger would do her hair. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead, and there are multiple styles, and there should be multiple styles because, you know, the games can change with stories, and that keeps people buying. So you don't really have to limit games for people to buy, because people will buy the stories, the new stories. And even though the areas are huge and the world is so free and you can do so many things, people will buy. So, and another thing I want to get into is the extras menu, where you can put markings, which is freckles. You can put on her face. You can put freckles. You can put beauty marks. You know, like above the right side of the lip, you can put a beauty mark. You know, and different things that are fun to do. And then I have designed my wife already. After you design the color of her skin, you want her to be African American, you want her to be Chinese, do you want her to be whatever, and you design her face, her nose size, her bridge, her forehead size, everything you wanted for your wife or whatever, your husband or whatever you make on this game. You go done, confirm character, and you can travel around the wasteland with them. So that is a cool feature, and this kind of reminds me of something that would be in Hellboy, this bridge. And if there was a big city over there, I like being able to go from country to city and explore in these games. It's very fun. It's very fun to do, and being able to go from country to city is very enjoyable. One thing that makes Fallout enjoyable too is the random contraptions you come up on, like broken buses that you can go inside of. It kind of reminds you of the Warriors movie, where in the Warriors they would come on to like old train cars and stuff like that. And another feature is being able to switch from third to first person. You like being able to see your character and see the character you designed while you play. And maybe even playing like Splinter Cell and having that character, you know, on your sniper rifles, of course, being able to zoom in, but like any other gun, you know, and your other guns being able to aim in too. Either aim in, like kind of like on Metal Gear Solid, being able to aim in this way, or when you aim in this way, like real life, and then switch back to third person after you're done aiming. But it is cool to be able to switch between third and first person, because when I want to play in first person, I can. When I want to play in third person, I can switch and play in third person. How fun is that? So anyway, the big cities in this game, there needs to be like Chinese restaurants, more city sites to go see. Maybe like balls, dance halls, places like that. Maybe you want some. Maybe you want a big store in your game because you like that. You enjoy going to the grocery store. Maybe you want a mall in your game because maybe you want a mall to explore when you're fighting this game. Maybe a police station. Maybe cars in the game. You know. And there's a mod called Pocket Vehicles that allows you to kind of drive cars. Only you can't bring your companions with you, and you cannot look in the car like it's an actual car. Nexus may have a mod like that, but I believe mods should be free, and that new stories and storylines make people buy more games, regardless of how much gameplay there is open world, and the dialogue there is between characters. If you put new stories in with things happening and events happening, like if there was a car in this game that flew off there, and there was a gang of greasers that ran out, and said, "Whoa, dude, what was that?" You know, you just had that awesome conversation going on between those greasers that you may not have in the next game. You may have a conversation between aliens and all kinds of other stuff in a completely different zone. Even scene makes the story different. Like if there was a scene right here of a man named Jerry, who lived here and was being tracked by the government, like in Conspiracy Theory. Well, that's a different story. And Jerry's life being tracked by the government makes it completely different gameplay, even though I can do everything, even though I have a wife I can run around with. I can dress her up in dresses or anything I want to dress her up in. You know, if I can go to a wedding, still, the storyline will be different, and the conversation in every game will be different, making that game different. Even if there was multiple choices of conversation, still, scenes could be different. The design of the furniture and the building and the architecture is always going to be different because there's unlimited possibilities. And I just want to talk about making better games in the future, making better games, better gameplay, and having better games out there. And if this place was cleaner too, like if they had a pre-war Fallout where all this stuff was just happening for the sake of creativity. I know the bombs didn't fall yet, nothing turned into all this yet, but just for the sake of creativity, they had like raiders, they had Deathclaws still running around in pre-war, the 50s. Like, it'd be cool, like this house, it's empty and all I get is ghouls coming out at me. What if I could go in some of these houses and there were families inhabiting them and they were pre-war looking and nice, you know? And still, the storyline makes it different. Like right now, if there was a monster who lived in this church, that'd be a different story, and his name was Hellboy, or whatever, and he lived in here, and there was all kinds of stuff going on with Hellboy. The story would be different. The story would change, and it would not matter how many buildings and cool stuff I put in the game. It would still be a different story in the next game, and different conversation would be there, and people would buy the next game, even though it was fun. You could have all this conversation with people and stuff. They would still buy the next game, because there's new conversations, there's new things going on. But not to limit the conversation in games either, because there can always be endless conversation that makes a new game viable, and new features that can make a new game viable, if you put every feature into that game. And that is going to be my video for today on this. This is going to be my video for Fallout 5, and I just wanted to talk a new way of making games. All cinematic scenes and storyline mixed with good gameplay, and the war in this game is awesome. I love war being in games, and like the monsters and stuff, and the raiders and the bad guys you gotta fight, and the explosions and the cars. Like what if an action hero just drove a big car off there right now? That would change the story. People would want to buy another game because there's a new story out, you see? So no matter how much you put into a game, like if this car could drive and it was a nice car, if it was like a Lamborghini, still, people would want to buy the next game because there's new stories out, there's new things going on. Even if there was a big mall complex with all these guards and cool stuff going on, still, people would buy the next game for conversation's sake, for story's sake, for cinematic scene change sake. You know, there's all kinds of scenes you can make. And that is all I'm going to do for today. That is the end of the video.